Hi, Pisces Sun and Rising. Welcome to your May 2022 Astro Update. It's Serena here. So, May is a time when the Sun is in Taurus as the month begins, but there still is a lot of Aries energy that will be in play. And for you, Aries is your second house of earned income. So, it's very possible that this will trigger positive developments in your finances because you've already had a new moon in this sector at the beginning of April. And now that we're in the beginning of May, Venus, the ruler of the second house, goes into that sector on the second of the month. So that's very nice. You will also have a very significant transit occurring on the 10th of May, which is Jupiter going into that second house because it's going into Aries. Now, it won't be in Aries for the rest of 2022 because it will retrograde and then go back into Pisces. And then, it's the better it gets because it's going back into your sign, Pisces. So it's going to be one of those things where it's really traveling between the first and second houses. And it's important to note that the second house, while it can be your net worth, it's also your self-worth. And so when you think about the first house, really being about the self altogether, and including the body on the outer end of things, the second house is the house of your amount of self-love. That's what I ultimately think self-worth is all about, is how much do you love yourself? And so this can help the person to increase that because Jupiter expands things. Now, this may come about in many different ways. You may fall into a career. That sounds kind of random. But you may get into something that really feels aligned with what you came here to do. Pisces is a sign that is very open to suggestion. And you are a mutable water sign, so mutable signs in general tend to be very flexible and have a lot of interests. But being a water sign, a mutable water sign, you can be impressionable. And if someone or says to you, somebody that you care about says, I think you would be really good at X, Y, or Z, you might do that because they're the ones telling you. But also, sometimes people go into various types of work because they want to please others. Family is a big one. Maybe even work in the family business and feel guilty about wanting to pursue their own things. And this can give you more confidence to do that if that has been an issue for you. But really, Jupiter in the second house can be multiple income streams. And that can be good because the person isn't relying on just one particular job. So if they, some people, they go to college for 4 years, or maybe they go to graduate school too, and it's like altogether 5 or 6 years, and they really concentrate their focus on one area, get a job in that area, and decide they don't like it. But they don't have any recourse because they don't have any other sources of income. So it's kind of like they would be left high and dry if they just quit. So having other options, even if those options aren't the main sources of income, can at least bring some money in and make a person feel like they're not just completely cutting themselves off financially. So that might be something that you cultivate in the next year, because we'll have Jupiter going back into Aries at the end of 2022 into 2023. But, luck with finances, expansion of finances, and Venus is there. These are the two benefics according to Vedic astrology, and that's supposed to be very good. Venus is the ruler of the second house, so it's really comfortable in that area. And, it attracts money to you. On the 10th, Mercury goes retrograde at 4 degrees of Gemini. I thought there were two things. Oh yeah, that's on the same day as Jupiter going into Aries. So on the 10th, there are two things that are happening. And so this is your fourth house of home and family, Pisces. Now, a Mercury retrograde, if you were planning to buy or sell a home, there may be something that was lost in translation that you have to take care of. So if you know ahead of time, and I'm recording this in April, that you are going to be selling a home, this would be paperwork or something like that is not constructed properly. There's something missing. And so that will just, these Mercury retrogrades, it's more of a delay than anything else. So if something delays that has to do with housing, don't, get too upset about it, because it can easily be remedied, sorted out, in other words. And this can also be about something with the mother, a misunderstanding. And again, everything that is somehow jumbled can be sorted out. It's just that what happens to people, what is it that happens to people? They experience something that is some sort of experience some kind of problem, and it just kind of mushrooms because they're not dealing with it to begin with. And especially something like a misunderstanding. Sometimes I've noticed this recently where I said something and somebody jumped to conclusions and just took it way out of context, and they went off on their own tangent. And I think all of us are capable of that, but it just seems that it creates its own set of problems, and it's, so not being reactive is the solution to that. Not assuming you know what somebody meant, what somebody is going to do, just because they've done things before in a certain way. Not making assumptions, in other words, can go a long way whenever there are any kind of issues that seem like they're confusing. On the 16th, there's a lunar eclipse at 25 degrees of Scorpio. So this is your sister water sign, and this is coming from the 9th house. So this has a more philosophical feel to it. This can be about purging old belief systems that are standing in between you and where you want to be. For Pisces, I wouldn't be surprised if this has to do with religious indoctrination, because Pisces people, by and large, are very spiritual people. I'm sure that there are some Pisces who are atheists, because atheism seems like a religion unto itself. I would even put atheism in the 9th house because it's a philosophical system. And that's what the 9th house represents. Now, God is a big part of that, but there are other philosophers and philosophies, and some of them are quite secular. But the idea being that a Pisces person who may have psychic abilities, if they have been raised and conditioned in an organized religion that frowns upon prophecy or whatever you want to call it, they can feel like the very things that are their gifts are something that are evil. And they may find it hard, though, to extricate themselves from it, because maybe they have built a strong community, congregation, and quite frankly, there may be things that they really take spiritual nourishment from. And this is the thing about organized religion. It's a mixed bag. It's not 100% bad. And you can still do it if you really feel that you are gaining something from that kind of thing, and yet you lean towards more of the spiritual. You don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. But for some people, there may be something that they were involved with that has been detrimental to their life. I will say, too, this could even be New Age related. Although the reason that I'm focusing on organized religion is I would put New Age beliefs in more of the 8th house or 12th house camps, because it's more open-ended spirituality. However, there are certain things that keep getting repeated as kind of being a part of the New Age ideas. So I kind of think that maybe there are some things that are 9th house related. So the bottom line is that you get to choose what you believe, even if you like a certain way of looking at God that is represented by one of the religious organizations, but you disagree with certain aspects of what they teach. You can choose to not believe those things. Only a cult would require you to be completely accepting of everything that they mention. So this may dawn on you. This may be something that you can let go of in some way. Maybe this is like ending school forever. I'm talking about college. If you have gone into graduate school, maybe you've gotten a degree, maybe you're getting a doctorate and you just said, F this, I'm done. I'm never coming back because something was the last straw. It could be that, or you could just be finished with everything. And you've this would be the time for graduation. On the 20th, the sun goes into Gemini, so the sun is in that domestic area. And maybe even helping you to focus your energy on something. If you feel like there is something getting mucked up, the sun can help you devote more energy to this area. On the 22nd, Mercury goes back into Taurus. So Mercury is in its own domain of the 3rd house, and it is retrograding, so it's not really functioning at full capacity, but it can be questioning your thoughts and, maybe reorganizing how you think about something. And the other thing, too, is that the 3rd house can be your siblings or extended family members. So Mercury going back in here, it could be like, okay, I talked to mom. I'm not getting along with her. We're having some kind of misunderstanding, so I'm going to talk to siblings. So maybe this is about the family home. Who knows? Maybe there's something going on with that. On the 24th, Mars goes into Aries, so there's another planet that goes into that 2nd house. And this is really what I was referring to, and I'm talking about people who are becoming very geared up to earn money. That's what Mars in the 2nd is all about. Might be hustling, doing whatever you can to make a buck, and you may have a goal in mind. There may be something specific that you want, because Venus is here and Venus loves luxuries. So you're trying to afford those luxuries. Speaking of Venus, it goes into Taurus on the 28th. Now that is the sign that rules the second house. But in your particular chart, Taurus is your third house. So it is connected with more educational and mental pursuits. This can be a time, maybe you find a great book to sink your teeth into. Because Venus can be about pleasure, taking pleasure in the life of the mind. And Mercury is here. So that might even be something that you're studying. Maybe it's for pleasure instead of because it's good for you. Or, like eating your broccoli. I actually love broccoli, but for somebody who thinks that that's something they have to eat to get to their dessert. But you may say to yourself, whatever it is that I'm studying, I can actually enjoy. I don't have to do it just for the sake of, this is more pragmatic to study that because they're going to have more job openings. But what is it that I really love? And I'm going to study that. And it's more, the third house is more about skills acquisition than it is, the university. And so it's interesting that you had this lunar eclipse in the house of higher education. That was what I was saying about if you just like walk away from school. It could be because you're finding that it's not providing the thing that it promised or that you are interested in. And that you're going to learn things that you love rather than that you should learn. On the 30th, we have a new moon at 9 degrees of Gemini. So there's that new moon in the 4th house, but to keep in mind that Mercury is retrograding at that time, and it started its retrograde in Gemini. So all of the things that this new moon promises that have to do with domestic matters, wait a few weeks and you will likely see them sorted out, and maybe you can really see forward movement because this new moon is happening during a Mercury retrograde. So it may not feel possible to experience new beginnings in that area for a couple more weeks. Okay, Pisces, that's what I have for you. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a personal reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.